Just gonna wait one more minute. This is probably gonna be a recording for future watching and not live streaming. It's Friday night, no one's watching live streams tonight. All right, well, I'll get started. So this is one of my edits that I've already put out. This is the Marshmallow and Sudden Death Sellout track. I did some sound checks, so hopefully this goes well. I got my speakers right behind my mic running in, so I'm not actually recording sound straight from my computer, so it might not sound the best. Plus, my studio's actually in the kitchen because that's what happens in LA. So it might be a bit boomy, but this is the first one, so we'll try it out and see how it sounds. So basically, most of my edits are Moombahton and dancehall, obviously. So and they're mostly of dubstep tracks, sometimes hard trap, like Gravedigger, and I have a little Texas edit as well. Usually what I do is I start with the main track, which is right here, and I'm not sure why I have a reverb on there, but anyway, these tracks aren't super cleaned up, but basically I start with the main track, and then the first thing you're going to want to do with your edit is when you get your track is to open it up and make sure that it is warped correctly. This track, when I dropped it in, actually didn't have any problems, but generally you're going to want to go through and make sure everything's warped correctly. So I usually go along and I check like every like 4 bars or whatever, and then keep going across. And if it seems pretty good, I'll just check like major points, like at 32 or right where there's a drop, like right here. I want to make sure at 32 it's right on. Sometimes it's a mess and you got to clean it all up. That's where using like mixed-in key helps, or you know, your record box or whatever, just to figure out the BPM and the key and everything, because that'll come into play later. But you definitely want to know what the BPM is ahead of time. It'll save you time when you're warping it, but you need to warp your master track, otherwise any time you cut anything out of it, it'll be off beat for some of the other stuff we're going to be doing. After I do that, so what I do is I slice up the main track, which you can see here. This is the main track, and then above it I have the channel turned off. That is basically the drop, which is the main part that I edit. And what I use this for here is basically cutting all my slices. So if I just have this part on, it'll stop, and that's it. It's just making sure that the audio is loud enough. And then here, obviously the drop of the song. And then I like using Complex Pro, and then I drop all the formats in envelope right down, because I'm going to be doing some, I find it helps with like pitch stuff later. It sounds better. And I mean, you can play around with them and get different sounds and cool stuff out of it for your edit, but that's the way I set it up. And so once I have the song sliced up, I know where my sections are. The next thing is you're going to want a drum pattern. So I am always making weird drum patterns, and then I just save them, and then I'll use them for this type of thing. I have the track frozen right now just to save, because I'm streaming, so I'm saving some CPU power. But this is the beat. I can't remember if I've used this for anything in terms of originals yet, but this is what it sounds like. Give Windows more space. So a lot of times when I'm making drums for Moombahton tracks or whatever, I'll have a lot more stuff in there. And the key thing is you don't want your drum track that you're using for this edit to be like super busy. Kick, snares, not a lot else. Sometimes I'll put like a tambourine over top of a kick, something like that. Right here I have a kick, and then I have a second layer of the kick, but it's just that initial transient just to give it some extra punch. These are kicks from the one of the Getter shred packs. I like those kicks a lot. And then snares, I have them layered. I have a little zap, which is kind of like the rhythm zap, I guess that's what it's known for. But and then the snares that I would usually Moombahton, you have like a sort of a dembo drum beat, like, and your snares will be hitting with that particular like Latin swing, like this. And I've done it before where I just have that snare and this kick, so this package up here or this group up here, and that's about it. With some, I'm finding I like with some of the more dubstep stuff, I'll have a kick and a snare in a basic setup like you'd have in dubstep. Obviously, we're double time here, or not double time, but the original track is 145 BPM. We're up to 200, but it's basically down to 100. It's not 200. So here, sorry. And then that gives it that hard smack that you hear, in a lot of the heavier bass music. But then it has the Latin snares up here, so it's kind of like it's got like 3 snares going on. The snare up here is a layer of 2 things. There's like 2 different rim shots. And when you're doing these edits, if you're doing anything into Moombahton, or if you're like taking, something that's like 150 and pushing it up to 200 or down to 100 or whatever you want to call it, it's really important to have snares that pop out of the song so that you can hear them. You don't want them to blend in too much. Kick, I'll get into how the kick is mixed into the original song, but you don't want it crazy, because then you'll have way too much mud and stuff, and it'll be just too loud with the kick. This snare down here is also a layer of just a tight snare and a clap. So there's a nice like hard smack, and then we'll just give a little bit. I think did I offset this? No, I didn't. But anyway, that's basically the drums. Real simple. That's all I use, and then I just fill it out to match whatever the sort of flow that I want to have with the song. Here on the 4th snare, I have some Foley sounds mixed over it with the snare. I can't remember where that's from, but it's in my folder. So that's that. Let me see. That's it. So that's the drums, as I said. Now the important part is how we slice all of this up. Now, the first thing I look for, I have like a ton of edits I've made that I never am going to put out or probably even play or anything, just because they sound like trash. The really important part, if you want to take something like dubstep that has a lot of sound and edit it in this way, is you want to find something that has space and has, I guess, opportunities to slice it up. If you listen to the original one here, there's lots of spots where there's like a note or a bar or something where you can slice out cleanly. For example, I guess what the easiest way to explain what I'm trying to say is I tried to do an edit of a Mastodon tune and it doesn't work because the way his basses and leads and stuff go, there's no real place to get a clean cut to layer it to do what I want to do. So it's all about finding the right track. That's really important because it's not going to work with a lot of tracks. This is the original drop here. This is my version here, which I've sliced all up. I'll play it without my drums. This is what it sounds like. I'll go back to the original. So, sorry, I have allergies. I'm going to be sniffing a bit. I use color. This one I haven't edited as much as I usually do. Sometimes I'll take all kinds of chops from all over the song and mix all together. This one, there's chunks here that haven't really been changed much. I color code it so that I know what I'm doing for later. So if you look at this right here, I'll make it nice and big. Right here, you'll see I have, so like the yellow spot hits right there. If I'm looking at this, I'll make a bigger grid. When I compare this section to the next section, that color blue hits the same spot as that color blue. This color blue hits the same spot as that color blue, etc. That's kind of like to keep it organized so everything hits all at the same time. If I scroll down here, I color coded this differently, and you notice the same thing. Purple lands where the purple is, the white one and the yellow one are different sounds, but they hit at the same part of the song at the same measure, so that's why they're coded that way. I'm gonna play this because this is the second drop, which I actually like better. Sounds like this. Here's the original. So you'll notice with this section, in the original, they don't have any of those like future bass chords. I chopped them out from a different part of the song and threw them in here. Right here, so that's what that purple one is. And then here. So I'm getting a little variation, and then back to that one again. So basically, the pattern in this one is it's got a future bass chord and then the KRS-One what stab. So chord, what, deep chord, high chord, and then the drop vocal. So that's kind of how I create a pattern and then color code it so I can kind of keep everything like nice and sort of symmetrical. The next thing, aside from just basically taking chunks of the song and like rearranging it, you can also add like pitch, like tape stops, and you can add reverses. I find just little things like that, not trying to get like super deep. These edits are meant to honestly just be done in like a sitting. I think I made this one the day the original came out, in the morning at my office. I think it took me an hour and a half to make this. So these are just meant to be real quick so that, you know, if you want them for sets the day of you're doing a set, or if you want them to like just throw up or whatever on SoundCloud for people to listen to and stuff. That's what they're for. They're not obviously not full remixes, but they're also not just like throwing drums over the original. It's you know, there's some slight some work. Let me try and find a sample that I've actually chopped up. I generally don't consolidate these clips in case I need to like adjust it if I find out that something is hitting weird or it's offbeat. If it's consolidated, it's harder to fix and still have it sound correct. Let me just find one here. I think this one, these two here, these brown ones, if you check it, here I'm kind of blocking it. see if I can move this. I've lost my mouse. If you can see there, I dropped it down half an octave, so that way you get the that's another way to get some variation in your edit. And I had a part that I think it might be in the other drop. Actually, I think it's in this part right here. Yeah, so here's where I would do like a big pitch drop, 3 octaves down. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. It just depends, and how quickly it drops. You kind of got to play with it to get the right sound, because you want that real nice tape stop sound. In this case, I didn't put a kick on it, but I find putting a kick on like your pitch effect really helps amplify it. If I go over here, back to this part of the song, I think I might have one in here. Oh, this one is a reversed section. So if you hear this, this note has been, sorry, this note. That's another way. So sometimes just taking that one note, which is like kind of like this one, and then like if I reversed it, it'd give me exactly what I have on this one. So even here, it's kind of done the same thing. So that's about it in how to get variation. You want to use like pitch effects. You can obviously slice it up in different ways, and tape stops, like I said. And then also another big thing, which I mentioned before, I had like these little parts, the KRS-One vocal, and then the sellout, the drop vocal. I cut those from like earlier parts in the song. I like taking elements outside of the main drop. Maybe it's from the intro, maybe it's from like a bridge or something else, or a build up, and adding it in. It's the same with the second drop, where I have like the future bass chords from the build, and drop them in there. That way it kind of rearranges it a bit more and just kind of makes your new drop less boring, I guess. And in terms of mixing, there's not actually like a lot of heavy mixing involved. There's no like secret to like getting my drums to line up with this. I basically make sure that if I cut a sample, if I cut a slice from the original song, and I have like so like in my drums, here's my snare, I make sure that that's where the snare is in the original song as well. That's kind of what got me using this snare pattern here, in addition to the Moombahton groove, because that helped me hit snares better. So the real trick is basically have a snare that stands out and is sort of bigger and brighter than the one in the original song, and then make sure that the snares in your drums line up here with your with the snare from the original song. So when I put it back together, you get that extra punchiness. And same with the kick. Sometimes where your kicks hit, you want them to hit the same as the kick in the original. Don't think I have this. Yeah, I don't have, like, on my slices, I don't have any processing in it, because I mean it's a finished song already. I have processing on all my drums, but nothing on the group. But my individual drums, I have, you know, my kick rack. This is an old kick rack. It's not that great. Um, but my snare, everything's processed the way I would have it for a normal song. It's just all about maybe just doing a little bit of balancing with the volume and and getting it to sound right. Uh, so yeah, that's like there's no magic trick for mixing these. It's just picking the right samples, I think, for your own drums, and then slicing it well, which kind of um, might limit you a little bit, but it saves a lot of work. As I mentioned, these are meant to be done pretty quick. Um, and then once I sort of have this top section, like this is the bulk of it, this song, once it's sort of in this place and it's done, I'll add in just like some effects and stuff. So on the build, I started doing in the last 2 months, adding like my basic, like this classic Dembo loop, or I think this is this another classic one. I use them during the build just to give it like, so it's not all exactly the same, and then it kind of gives like the listener an idea of what they're gonna get. And I kind of have these mixed so you don't hear this one as much, and then this one I've got the volume automated a bit, and then these are layered. This one's louder than this one. This one the waveform looks loud, but it's actually not that loud. And then over here during the build, I dropped them out because there's no drums here. Like with a groove, there's obviously kicks and stuff, but I just sounded better taking it out. And then here for the actual build, I put a double time on this Dembo. Real simple, but I EQ'd it just to get some of the low end out. I didn't want these conflicting with the kicks from the original, so I just cut out like anywhere the kick might the low end of the kick samples might be, and then mix this with the original, and then here, just real basic stuff, but it kind of adds a little bit more. And then here, you know, just classic alarm, siren. And then this is one of my signature samples. I use this in all my edits, all my originals. It's one of the sounds I kind of use for my style. Can't hear it that much in this one, but other places you can. And then the other signature sound I use in all my songs is the laugh. It's like a Halloween sample. I have it panned from left to right, so it's kind of like the laugh is, you know, going across one ear to the other. And then I'll put that in a spot where there's some room to hear it. So right at the end of a section. And that's kind of like, it's like, you know, you'd hear stuff like, I remember like getting all this, like when I first discovered Jersey Club in like 2008, every song had like a DJ ID on it, kind of like classic like Funkmaster Flex or whoever. It would always be like, you know, DJ Tamil, DJ Sega, Tim Dalla have their little ID over every track, unless you bought it from them directly. And this is kind of like that, but it's not like my name, it's just sounds. So there's still like, you know, people will hear it and that's like the sounds that I use in all of them. So there's some consistency, but it's not like shouting my name, but like, which can ruin the ability to play out a track live if you're someone else. So, yeah, that's about it for these. I'm going to save this video and share it around. Leave some comments if you found this helpful, and if you know, if the audio quality sucks or something like that, I'm going to try and do a better setup. I just wanted to get this one out. I've got a bunch of videos I've got planned out. Most of them aren't production wise. They're going to be like business and marketing tools. I've been working in advertising here in LA for a few years, and there's a lot of really simple free tools that you can use to really help your business keep track of your work, regardless of what you're doing. And so I'm going to do like a video on each one of those. So I'll probably do one on spreadsheets, Google Sheets, and I'll put up like a free template if you want to use that. You know, how to keep track of all your contacts, how to keep track of all your releases, your stats, all that type of stuff. Keep it all in one place so that you can sort of keep a record of what you're doing, but also like make a plan. You know, I keep a spreadsheet for every original I make that I plan on releasing. That way I can sort of figure out who I'm going to send it to and when, and if they respond. That way you kind of get to know, you know, who your early supporters are, so you can keep track of them, because, you know, they're really important. And then also keeping track of who responds, so that, you know, if there are certain people who respond and give you feedback or whatever, then, you know, you might want to prioritize them. I'm also thinking like storage and backup stuff, branding stuff, Photoshop. There's a whole bunch of stuff I got a list of that are, again, mostly free and helpful, that I've used in my day job, for a lot of that. You know, they're just really helpful, really simple things, but you might not be using them. So I'm gonna set those up. Yeah, there's nothing else to plug really. Check out my music, soundcloud.com/itsdjmondo. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's DJ Mondo. I don't use DJ anymore. That's been my DJ name since I started in 1999. I kept it because I didn't want to change it. And yeah, it's just Mondo, but all my links, it's DJ Mondo. Check them out. SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Yeah. So, I got Artie in the room. Welcome, Artie. I was just finishing up, but you know, you can watch the whole thing after. Just gonna say hey to Artie. Speaking of Artie, check out Sonic Clash Records. Sonic with a K, all one word. Sonic Clash Records out of Portland. Artie and Nancy and Jamie up there, putting out a lot of great Moombahton global bass music. Portland's one of the best places for that. A lot of music comes out of there. There's a lot of shows and stuff going on. So yeah, check them out. They got a mix series every month, mix coming out. They got records coming out. Yeah, they're good people. Anyone else to shout out? Oh, shout out Lil Texas. I made an edit of one of his tracks from his EP, and that's the first one to get up to 1,000 plays on SoundCloud of all my edits. So this is kind of celebrating that, and just want to shout out Lil Texas for you know, supporting that, but also just supporting, you know, anybody who likes his sound, who's down with his sound. And he's a big inspiration for doing these videos, because he just gives back to everybody. So I wanted to give back with these, but also, you know, like I said, all the advertising marketing stuff I've learned too. I want to start doing more of those videos. So yeah, that's it. Happy Friday. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. I think that's it. You know, maybe before we go, I went through this track. Maybe I'll just open up one more edit just to shoot, I don't even know where they are. Yeah, let me open up one more just so I can kind of show you what I have been talking about. You can see all my my messy file storage. Let's do. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's why. Apologies. Oh, I got Goose in the place out of Toronto, my old stomping ground. What's up, Mikey? Oh, should I have not said your name? Sorry. What's up, Goose? I'm just finishing up. You're gonna have to rewind the video and watch it after. But I'm gonna open up one more track just to go through it real quick. I went through my sudden death Marshmallow track. This is the other Southern Death one I did. Break It Down. I keep losing track of my mouse. My setup here sucks. My laptop looks like an octopus right now. I got like 50 chords running out of it. All right, same thing. Main track is here, the yellow one. This is the drops that I've sliced out and used for like the source material where I cut my slices from. Drum rack up here. Check the drum rack. Same as before. And this one again, all color coded to keep it organized so I know where I have different slices and stuff. Same thing over here. That way I know what all the samples are. Second drop, same thing, different colors. Oh, okay, you were here. All right, never mind. Anyways, I'm still gonna just do this real quick. Yeah, same thing. Line the drums up with your slices, and you don't have to worry about any weird phasing and stuff like that. It should sound fine. This is the original sliced up. That's a thing there. I did another pitch drop on it right there, but with a kick on it. Like I said before, kicks help your tape stops. So you can hear all of the, you know, the slices and everything. It kind of sounds similar to the original. And then with the drums. Yeah. So that's it. Same thing. I threw in some classic Dembo loops just to help with the build. Threw in the signature sound. I just reversed it this time. I got the laugh in there somewhere. Oh, I put in the drum rack. Good thing I don't have effects on my drum rack right now. Yeah, this one has got a few more tracks than the last one just because I've got some white noise in there from the etc pack. And claps, snares, same thing, zap, kick transient, and then my sounds that kind of create there's my snare. And yeah, so that's the same thing. They all kind of look like this now. My early ones were a lot messier, and it was basically just like a kick and a snare, and that's it. But as I've been making more drum loops, I've just been repurposing them for other stuff. I've got some more edits that are done, but I'm kind of saving them for a bit. And I'm trying some new techniques, and if they go over well, if they start sounding good, then I'm going to maybe I'll do another tutorial on these. But yeah, I'm going to try and do a live stream like this at least once a month, hopefully twice. It gets busy, and it also gets loud in my area. Not super loud like in the neighborhood, but just for recording it's not ideal. But yeah, those are the edits, and that's the video. So have a great Friday. Appreciate everybody watching, present and future, and yeah, stay tuned. Peace.